All right, so Captain Marvel has come. It's hit its second week. People have seen it. It's on its road to $1 billion. And there was one controversy that came out of this that I didn't cover. I just really caught wind of the other day, and it's been kind of bugging me a little bit because it's this one here about new reports of empty theaters that Captain Marvel add to movies controversy. And this is coming from Bounding Into Comics. They're not the only one to cover it. A lot of YouTubers have covered it. A lot of other people have covered it. And I looked at this, and I think that one of the reasons why I didn't cover it was because to me the whole thing came across as just the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Why would a movie company purchase tickets in order to artificially boost the numbers, right? And people were arguing that they bought as many as $100 million worth of tickets, that it only made 20 million in profit over the course of the weekend. I mean, I reached out to my people in San Diego, and I was like, how busy was Captain Marvel? And like, it's pretty damn busy. You know, pretty damn busy. They got no reason to lie to me over it. These are people that I worked with for years. So you got to understand that when I'm talking about this, I'm coming at this from as a person who spent 14 years of my life in the movie theater business game, working for theaters and managing theaters. I understand this particular world. That's why I'm laughing so incredibly hard at this, because the fact anyone would give it any legitimacy. And there are channels that I've seen that, like, I trust their theories, and they've given it legitimacy. And I'm like, oh, what are you doing? Like, what? Okay, let's talk about this here. So it says new reports of empty theaters for Captain Marvel's weekend showings are the latest in the movie's ongoing controversy. A number of Twitter users indicated that there were empty seats at a number of Captain Marvel showings over the weekend. Just Pele here says the Captain Marvel report from my local theater is shocking. Out of 22 showings on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, there were 570 empty seats from advance tickets buyers who never showed up, while on Sunday, there were only 4 no-shows for the movie all day. Okay, so why would that happen? Well, for one, I find that to be a little bit perplexing. If there were 22 showings over the span of Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 500 empty seats from all shows. So you figure on average, an average theater has approximately 100 seats if they are one of the new luxury recliners, but it could be any number. I have no idea how many seats are in this auditorium. I don't know any of that information. So let's go with an average of 100. Okay, fine. There's 5 showings a day. So that's 500 showings, that's 500 tickets per theater. So they're probably showing it, and that would be 22 showings or 2,200 showings, saying 570 people didn't show up. That just feels wildly impossible. And the thing is, they could go back and get the information from the theaters themselves. They keep detailed catalogs of all this, by the way. You know, at the end of the day, the staff have to count out the ticket stubs, staple them together, and then count it. Right? They do their own internal audits at most of these theaters on a nearly nightly basis. And the reason why is because it's a corporate freaking mandate. So there would be more people coming out because it would be something that they would exceptionally talk about. When they're doing the counting at the end of the night, when they do their final paperwork and plugging it into the Excel file that goes off to the corporate office, because that's what they all do. There would be the discrepancies of like, yeah, we sold this many tickets, only this many showed up. They would be able to see that. They have the technology. They really do. Now, he goes on to say here that the manager claimed he'd never seen anything like this in his 20 plus years. Hundreds and hundreds of tickets were purchased online, but the buyers never arrived to see the film. As far as I'm concerned, the box office totals for Captain Marvel are fake, with Disney or a partner padding the numbers. Again, I want to know who this person is. I want to see the numbers. I want to see the details on this one because I don't buy it. Nothing about that even remotely makes a lot of sense, right? This is the thing. You can sit there and argue, but no one was there. Well, we don't know what's showing. We don't know out of those 2,200 potential 2,200 seats. And again, that's just a minimalistic estimate. That's a minimalist estimate based upon how many seats are there. Go to your local theater and ask them how many tickets are available in the theater. Right? And you will find a wide array. When I was working at a cinema when I was 16, our biggest auditorium was our THX theater, held 650 people. And we would show a movie 5 times a day. That's over 3,000 potential seats that could be seeing that movie every single day. Right? So if you were looking at it like that, then it's possible that those could be also, very minimal. It's very minimal. 500, if 500 people don't show up out of all of these seats. All I'm saying here is that the numbers vary, right? Like, the numbers vary depending on which auditoriums you go to. I need to know that data in order to get a very, very solid understanding of this. Because none of that's been even remotely put forward. My bullshit meter's going off through the roof on this one. But the article goes on because they actually apparently did a little bit of digging into this themselves. They say here, we spoke with a movie theater manager who asked for anonymity. He told us that exactly 25 no-shows for every showing of Captain Marvel Thursday through Saturday. The manager told us that this was definitely abnormal. It's definitely not normal. People usually show up when we pay for the tickets. I'm not sure what it is. We've seen big groups not show up before, but they get refunds. Now, the guy says here, I asked whether or not these tickets were purchased in bulk, but that information isn't available. I'm not sure if they were bought all at once because Fandango doesn't give us that information, but exactly 25 no-shows for every show is probably statistically impossible. Now, he's saying right there, 25 tickets for, now this could be the same place. I'm not too sure if this guy gave him the information or not, but that seems to me like a block of tickets. That's a block of tickets being sold. 25 is too pure of a number for it to be anything. Now, what it could be is there could be groups that come in and pre-buy tickets and they happen to pre-buy them online and then maybe the plan's canceled. Right? Maybe they had bought their tickets and maybe it was like a nonprofit or something, or it was a local group that had collected the money, pre-purchased the tickets, plans were canceled, and then they plan to go back and get the refunds later on. Again, these are things we really have no idea of. Now, again, I've been working at theaters a long, long, long time. I've serviced thousands of people coming through. That sounds worse than it is, but I've counted cash. I've done all this stuff for years. This doesn't make any sense. Right? Unless it's people who pre-bought screenings and then ultimately just never got their money back, or they haven't gotten their money back yet. It could be scalpers who were anticipating the movie to do very well. So they pre-bought 25 tickets per screen. People have done that. People have gone and they pre-purchased tickets for these movies and then they've sold them off at a higher rate. Now, it could be possible that nobody bought it because they just made a bad bet. That could be happening as well. Again, there are a number of factors that could potentially be there. And these were online ticket sales, then of course they're not going to be able to find out that way. But people are really trying to push this controversy that Captain Marvel is trying to pad out the numbers. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I've talked to people that were my boss, people that were now managers, and I've asked them about this, and even they're like, yeah, that makes no freaking sense. So the only way, and this is true, this is me coming off my experience here. All right. Me not taking someone's word on it directly. You don't have to take my word on it directly. You may not. That's fine. But what I want to see and what they have is on their computer or printed out and stored in their office is going to be the nightly report. They have access to this. It's either going to be emailed electronically to corporate office, which means they'll have a copy stored on their hard drive, and managers, and it's not just general managers, it's assistant managers who will also engage in the nightly paperwork. I know because I did it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I would do my nightly paperwork, and that includes doing the inventory. So what I want to see here, if this is true, and if they want to prove this, provide the receipts. You literally have them. You can provide them anonymously. You can cross out all the relevant personal information and show that there are ticket sales that didn't get cashed in, that there's a surplus at the end, that people didn't show up. You have the data. So if you have the data, show the data. And again, it's not hard to get. I used to cover my own ass, forward myself a copy of my nightly report every single night when I would close, just in case there was a problem and I needed access to the file later on. And I've still got those emails from all these years later because it was covering my own ass. Any manager would know how to get access to this report because guess what? The theater employees would absolutely talk about it because that's what they do. So here's another thing too. And this could just be a random occurrence, and I will wrap the video up with this one. But 4,310 theaters were showing Captain Marvel in his first weekend. I'm not too sure at this point how many Box Office Mojo brought up or how many theaters were increased for the second weekend. But the movie in its first week was in the most theaters of any movie ever, and still made 30 million less than Batman v Superman, which was in 100 screens less 3 years ago. So it's likely, very likely, that, well, you're going to find certain screenings when they're in that many shows are going to have too few people, or maybe in some cases, no one at all. It's not uncommon for that to happen. Not everyone's going to be able to make it at the right time. And again, there's factors here we don't understand. There's factors here that they're not providing. Provide us with the literal receipts. You want me to believe this? You want to take Disney to task? Prove it. And you can. And if you choose not to, I have literally no reason to believe anything that's coming out of this controversy, because it's so easy to send that information off with the proper identifying information redacted so then no one gets doxxed, but at least enough to show that you're not lying. I'm not saying anyone is, but I am, my BS meter is going off pretty high, and I'd like to get to the bottom of this. That's how you do it. That is how you do it. Now we have to wait and see if anyone actually provides the information or if they just